Hey guys, Will here. So just a quick update today for you on the SimCoach's P1 Pro pedal review that we launched a couple of days ago now. So we've been doing some extended testing here in the studio over the last few days. I've been using these pedals on the rig for the last round of the Pesk All Stars race that we did at Nürburgring. So I've put them through probably a good 10-15 hours of use since we filmed the footage for that initial review video. Now the reason I wanted to do this update is because part of that review, we actually said that we hadn't had any issues with any leakage from the slave cylinders or banjo bolts or anything like that. And unfortunately, we have run into a few issues with leaks. So let me just grab the camera off Tom quickly. I'm gonna take you down now to show you exactly what's happened. Now, I have already been in touch with SimCoach's and they are working on the issue, and I'll take you through the details of that in just a moment. But we actually had leaks in two separate areas. Now, I've fixed one of them myself. We had a smaller leak from the bottom of the banjo bolts here, and we were able to fix that up by just simply cranking down the bolts a little bit tougher. As I mentioned in the review, these are little copper crush washers, and I believe that these are Wilwood parts as well. And so we cranked those down a little bit tighter, basically as tight as we possibly could, and that appears to have stopped the leak now. I've got about 5 hours of usage since I cleaned them up, and you can see both the masters on the clutch and the brake are in pretty good shape. Now, I haven't been using the clutch excessively because the cars that I've been driving haven't really been using it, but I have been when I've been sitting in the rig, I've been just pumping the clutch away just to sort of try to make it fail again, basically, I suppose. But yeah, originally those were leaking quite badly and the fluid was dripping down. I'll put a picture up for you guys now to show you what happened, but basically we ended up with a bunch of fluid down behind that dripped down onto this plastic cover on the motion platform, which was not ideal. It didn't actually leak down inside it, I don't think. It was just kind of sitting on the surface. But the problem now, as you can see, is we've got a whole bunch of fluid sitting inside the channel. And if we go around the back here, you can see it's all wet through the whole thing. And what's happening basically is the fluid's leaking out of the front of these slave cylinders. I'll pull the pedals off the rig in just a moment and show you exactly what's going on. But yeah, basically we're getting some fluid leaking out of the nose or the front of those slave cylinders, and that is then dripping down and creating a pool underneath. So yeah, I'm going to pull them off the rig now, show you exactly what we're talking about, and then talk about the discussions that we've had with SimCoach's about rectifying the issue. All right, so pedals are off the rig. Now come in a little bit closer and I'll show you exactly what's happening. So there's a little seal that sits in the front of the slave cylinder here, and obviously as you push the pedal, that piston moves in and out, and you can see there the fluid. Actually, if you get in really close, you can actually see the fluid bubbling away even now as we pump that. So what's happening is that's obviously then running down, and I'll grab another pedal here so you can see a bit easier. So that fluid's obviously coming out and then running to the lowest point. We had the pedals on a bit of a tilt on the rig, which is why it was dripping from the back here and then dripping onto whatever is below it. So to talk about solutions, I have been in touch with SimCoach's straight away as soon as we ran into the first time we had a little issue, so when it was leaking from the banjo bolts as well. He instructed us to just crank these down a little bit tighter. As I mentioned, that seems to have fixed the problem there. We had about 5 hours of usage since doing that and no more fluid leaking there at all. I'm just having a closer look now that we're off the rig completely, and yeah, I can see absolutely no seepage there at all. So that, I'm confident to say, is fixed just by tightening those down a little bit further onto the crush washers. But yeah, regarding the slave cylinders, I think one thing that is important to point out is we did have some leaking on the SimTag pedals, which we reviewed recently as well. And we actually mentioned that in the review of these ones. When we did the review of the SimCoach's, I said that we hadn't had any leaks because at the point that we'd filmed it, we hadn't. And when we released the video as well, when we published that video, we still hadn't had any leaks. Otherwise I would have said something at the time. But yeah, we did have a little bit of seepage with these ones as well. When I spoke to the guys at SimTag, they said that it was within the realms of normality and to just sort of wipe it off and it wouldn't really be a problem. And I think that because these are sitting upright, you know, we've probably got a good 300 or 400 hours of usage on these pedals now. I've had to wipe them a few times, but it's never kind of gotten to the point where it's run down and dripped on other things. I think because they're sitting upright, maybe gravity's assisting in keeping the fluid inside, whereas with these ones, because they're sitting you know, at 90-degree angle to the ground, it, you know, just leaks out and becomes a problem. Now, we've got the Racework pedals up here as well, which are the ones I'm going to be putting back on the rig to test out again for a little while. And we did originally have issues with the clutch on these leaking a little bit out of the slave as well. This is a replacement that we were sent about 3 months ago now that we've been testing out, and I'm happy to say we haven't had any leaks yet. It seems to be perfectly fine, but they did have to go through a few revisions with their design as well to sort it out. So, I mean, it does seem to be just one of those things at least with the hydraulic pedals that we've tested here on the channel. I can't speak for every single brand, obviously, but particularly with these Wilwood slave cylinders, there does seem to be a bit of an issue with seepage. And obviously when you combine that with a design where it's sitting flat at 90 degrees to the floor, it creates an issue with, excessive leakage. So where do we go from here? As I mentioned before, I did speak to Lawrence at Sim Coaches. He's obviously been in touch with Wilwood to find out whether they've got a solution from their end, but he's also working on his own slave cylinder design as well. So obviously they've got the CNC machining hardware there to make their own design. So they're doing that and they're going to be using that moving forward, I believe. So I'll continue to keep you guys updated. Now, I would encourage you, if you haven't already watched it, do go and check out the full review that we did a couple of days ago on these pedals. There are a lot of things to absolutely love about these pedals, and I am genuinely really disappointed that we've had a problem with them and had to pull them back off the rig again, because I was actually looking forward to using these, for an extended period of time. I'd just sort of gotten used to using them, and yeah, I was actually really enjoying them. So I'm pretty disappointed that this has happened, but obviously wanted to share, the fact that it has happened with you guys. Particularly the throttle pedal, I just absolutely love the feeling with the hydraulic cylinder that they've got in here. And yeah, I really do love the pedals, so I'm hoping that we can get this sorted out. I know that this video is a little bit rushed, and normally I would wait for the situation to play out completely and come back to you guys with a full solution. But because we did say in the review video that only went up a couple of days ago that we didn't have any issues with leakage, I wanted to get this out for you guys just to sort of clear that up straight away, because I thought that was potentially a little bit misleading. Obviously we didn't have any problems at the time that we filmed and published that video, but since that went out, obviously we've had a couple of problems that I wanted to make sure was shared with you guys as quickly as possible. So that's the situation. I'll continue to keep you updated, so make sure that you're subscribed if you're not already, so you can follow the progress there. I'll keep you guys updated in a couple of other areas as well, the Discord community and so forth. But yeah, just a quick update for you guys today. I hope that helps you, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.